So by now, I'm going to assume that you've seen The Defenders and you obviously know about the ending. Matt Murdock, the Daredevil, is presumed dead. And that's more or less exactly what the rest of the characters in the Marvel Netflix universe think, but we do know that he wakes up, and from what it looks like, he's definitely in some sort of safe haven. And since we can't confirm where this might be because it's not really confirmed to us, we can just assume that this is, of course, in an actual church, and he's being watched by people that are going to more or less bring him back to full health. We of course see that he's being watched by some very careful people. These are most likely going to turn out to be the nuns. This would kind of line up with some comic book elements. And a lot of people, including myself, obviously, the moment we saw this, we figured they are probably going to be using the Born Again storyline. Now, in the Born Again storyline, things get very dark. We literally find Matt Murdock at his lowest point. And as low as he's fallen, it's nothing compared to what happens to Karen Page. Her time is much worse off than you could ever imagine. She literally cannot handle life anymore. She's in Hollywood. Her career, or the career she wanted, is failing. She turns to porn so she's able to support a heroin addiction. It's just a nightmare for them. It's a very dark storyline, which I believe they will take elements of. Now, much like everything else in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they take elements of familiar stories and they shape them in a brand new direction. So Karen Page, I think, is definitely going to be one that's going to touch upon some of these things, maybe addiction, but definitely not the whole porn thing. Now, recently when they got to talk to Charlie Cox, who of course plays the Daredevil Matt Murdock, this is what he had to say when he was asked if it would be based on Born Again. And he says, and I quote, "There's many elements from Born Again, but I'm sure there will be elements that are unfamiliar and surprising and different in order for the show to be compelling to fans who know the comics very well. If we start making Born Again page for page, then the people who have read it and loved it, the hardcore fans, they won't have too much drama." So pretty much exactly what he's saying, what they say about the rest of the MCU. They're going to take elements of Born Again and they're going to do their own take on it, just like they did the death of Elektra, but they're going to have elements that are changed around so you don't anticipate it, which is the same thing they've done with Civil War and the Winter Soldier and things like that, because it just makes a lot more sense to do it that way, because you don't want everything to play out the exact way in the comics, which honestly is pretty awesome, and I really can't wait to see how they're going to handle this and some of those themes from Born Again, and how they're going to twist them around, and maybe they'll add Bullseye, because it's about time, I think.